He had once been the kind of man whose name made entire theaters fall silent, whose face filled the silver screen with emotion so raw it could move millions to tears. The world had worshipped him. Directors fought to work with him, fans screamed for him, and newspapers printed his smile like it was gold. For years, his life was a dream, the mansion, the fame, the endless attention. But life, cruel and unpredictable, began to take everything away, piece by piece, until even the echoes of his former glory faded into the distance. It started subtly. A few bad choices, a few wrong friends, a few headlines twisted into scandal. The offers dried up. The phone calls stopped. Those who had once stood beside him began to avoid his name. Then came financial troubles, the collapse of his investments, and the betrayal of those he trusted most. The same people who had praised him now whispered behind his back, calling him washed up, broken, a relic of the past. The world that had once cheered for him suddenly had no place for him at all. Fame, he realized, was the most fragile thing a man could hold. When the money ran out, the house went next. He sold his car, his awards, and even the memories that once defined him. His health began to fail, and loneliness became his closest companion. There were days when he would stare at the mirror, barely recognizing the man who looked back, a man who had lost everything the world thought mattered. Yet, in that silence, he found something no fame could ever give him: clarity. He began to understand what it truly meant to live. He discovered strength not in the applause, but in the quiet act of enduring. He found meaning in kindness, in helping others who had nothing. Some days, he would visit hospitals, comforting sick children without ever mentioning who he once was. Other days, he would volunteer at shelters, serving food with a smile that hid 1,000 stories. People saw only a humble, aging man, but within him still burned the fire of a hero. He never complained. He never cursed his fate. He had seen the best and worst of humanity, and somehow it made him gentler, wiser. Even when his body grew weak, his spirit stood tall. Those who crossed paths with him often said there was something magnetic about him, a quiet dignity, an aura of peace that only comes from a man who has truly lived, lost, and accepted. Years later, when he passed away, few newspapers carried the story. But for those who knew him, his death wasn't the end of a fallen star. It was the farewell of a warrior who had fought his battles with grace. His name might have faded from Hollywood's lights, but his legacy lived on in the hearts he touched, in the lives he changed without ever seeking recognition. He had once been a symbol of fame, then a victim of loss, and finally a master of life itself. He proved that a man's greatness is not measured by the cheers he receives, but by the strength he shows when the world stops cheering. He lost everything the world could take away, but what remained was something far greater: his soul, his courage, his quiet heroism. In the end, he didn't just survive the fall, he turned it into his greatest triumph.